screenshots on the screen as we go through these player props, but I really like what we did on Thursday. We're going to look at every single game. That way I can do a quick little preview, especially with some of the injury updates that we do have, talk about our start sit options, and then also go through our top 5 player props. So let me go ahead, let me set this up, and as I do so, let me remind you, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I'm assuming that 99% of y'all have already subscribed. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you have not been able to come out to these live streams with us, which we do every single day. And the props we are going to be looking at today will be on Underdog. On Underdog Fantasy, you not only can check out all these cool props, but they have weekly best ball drafts that you can get into. You know, we drafted over 700 best ball teams this year on the live stream. So if you want to get in a draft with us on the stream, if you want to go get in a weekly best ball draft, check out any of these player props. You can find the link to Underdog in the live chat, the comment section, the description of the live stream, and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 200. And also, not only if you signed up for Underdog a year ago with promo code FLOCK, a month ago with promo code FLOCK, today with promo code FLOCK, tomorrow with promo code FLOCK, regardless of whatever it is, we are going to get y'all a free special bet this upcoming week 13. Let me see if I can find Patrick Mahomes here. Instead of seeing Patrick Mahomes at 287.5 passing yards, only for people who use promo code FLOCK, that line's going to be sitting at 0.5 passing yards. Not only are they going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 200, but also if you use promo code FLOCK, you will get access to that free bet, which I am super excited that we're going to be able to get y'all. But that should be it. Let's go through. Let's dive into this video. And let's start off with the props that we had not only last Sunday, but also on Thanksgiving. So we had a lot of these. We actually had 9 props we need to get through. So we're going to be super brief with this. Davante Adams, Sunday, that hit. Eckler, missed. Olave, hit. Dameon Pierce, hit. Donovan Peoples-Jones, you'll see him later on, hit. Devin Singletary, hit. Daniel Jones, I was very worried about the matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. We ended up missing on this one. I actually thought it was going to hit, but it is what it is. Tony Pollard, we hit. Kirk Cousins, we missed. So over the last Sunday and Thanksgiving slates, we went 6-3. I think we've only had 2 losing weeks so far this year. That was 2 weeks ago and week 1. But that should be it. Let's dive right into it. Let's start off with the Denver Broncos as well as the Carolina Panthers game here. I mean, not too much that we want to be doing. I mean, I'm kind of staying away from all these lines. I think you can start Latavius Murray as a low-end RB2, knowing that he's going to get every touch. I think Courtland Sutton is going to be a viable option now that Jerry Jeudy is ruled out as well. And Greg Dulcich, I mean, streaming tight ends, I think you're going to be more excited the fact that you have so many wide receiver injuries in Denver. Going over to Sam Darnold, I'm avoiding every single Carolina Panther here. I mean, we started Davante Adams against Patrick Surtain last week. I know a lot of people are screaming, oh, the matchup's too tough, blah, blah, blah. And while, yeah, it's a tough matchup, we were willing to bet on Davante Adams in it. I'm not betting on DJ Moore in that matchup. Don't start anybody in Carolina. I mean, if you're desperate for a running back in a non-PPR format, you could go Deontay Foreman. But now going over to Atlanta, Mariota, this is the issue with every Atlanta Falcon. This is the issue. This is the projection almost every week for Marcus Mariota. His total passing yards, 163 as a median projection. This is why you can't start anybody in Atlanta. You could start Cordell Patterson if he wasn't freaking splitting a backfield with Tyler Algier, if he was getting targeted out of the backfield. So I'm not really going to be excited about any of those props. I'm not going to start any of those guys. Going over to the Washington side of things, this is the first prop that we are going to have for the week. I'm going to go ahead. We are going to be looking at Antonio Gibson here. I'm going to be looking at the more than 77.5 total yards. Now, what mainly plays into this is a factor of 2 things. Numero uno, J.D. McKissic on the IR. Since J.D. McKissic's gone to the IR, Antonio Gibson has fully obtained that passing down role. He's getting every single snap in obvious passing down scenarios. This past week, he played like 68% of the snaps in Washington. Numero dos, you have him going up against the Atlanta Falcons, probably the best matchup you could ask for. So I actually like Antonio Gibson a lot in this matchup. I think he is someone that needs to be in your starting lineup, and I'm actually willing to take that line on him. Now, skimming past this, I know some people like the Terry McLaurin line. Y'all know I'm not a big McLaurin guy. Now, going over to the Houston side of things, we're going to run it back with Dameon Pierce. Last week, we took the fewer than 102 total yards for Dameon Pierce. That confidently hit. And this week, we're going to do the same thing with Dameon Pierce, even though this line's come down to about 91.5. The spread on this Miami Dolphins game, last I checked, was sitting at about 12.5 points. 12.5 points. You were supposed to have the Miami Dolphins straight up rolling the Houston Texans here. Look at how high that Jeff Wilson line is. So you better be going through. You better be starting Jeff Wilson. I don't really love taking any of the Miami props. I mean, with Waddle, I would love to take the over, but we know that they're not going to have to throw the ball in the second half. They can't just run it over and over and over again because Houston's not going to be able to put points up on the board. I don't think we have any of these Cincinnati bets, but obviously you're starting Joe Burrow. Samaje Perine going to be a viable low-end RB2. You're starting T. Higgins. I mean, I'm expecting Jamar Chase to play, so I think you actually will be planning on starting Jamar Chase as well. Hayden Hurst would be a viable option if you have no Chase. If Chase were to play, though, I'm probably going to be removing him from the lineup. Now, going over to the Tennessee side of things, Derrick Henry must-start player. I don't really love these player props. Just going to be avoiding. Treylon Burks is someone that I know a lot of people have wanted to get in their starting lineup. I think Treylon Burks is 100% someone that needs to be on your roster, and he has a lot of long-term upside. I'm not starting Treylon Burks this week, though. I mean, with Treylon Burks, I think you wait to see it another week. Don't play Austin Hooper. Now, going over to the New York Jets and Mike White under center here, taking over for Zach Wilson. I know a lot of people are more excited about Mike White. I'm not going to start any of these guys. They actually moved that Garrett Wilson lineup, and I believe you have Corey Davis playing this week. Now, going over, I'm assuming once we get Leonard Fournette officially ruled out, we are going to get more lines on Rachaad White. I'll be interested to see Sunday morning what they put out there for Rachaad White for us. I think they're going to have to wait for Leonard Fournette news on that front, though. And if we're looking at these wide receivers between Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, if Leonard Fournette were to miss, I kind of think that maybe they get an extra target or two, because it's not like Rachaad White's going to take, all the targets that he already had and combine all the targets Leonard Fournette had and just be coming away with 11 targets guaranteed in this contest. I think maybe you have a few of these going over to the wide receivers. And if we're looking at Evans gets to 1.5 receptions almost every single, 4.5 receptions every single time he plays. If we remove the Lattimore game, if we remove the game that he gets thrown out early, this is almost a lock for the entire season. So I actually like Mike Evans to go for more than 4.5 receptions. So you're betting that Evans does get to 5. And now going down beyond this, with the Cleveland Browns, 2 weeks ago, we ended up missing out when we took the more than, 80 rushing yards on Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb down at 76, but it is a little bit of a tougher spot going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One spot that I really like is Donovan Peoples-Jones. Can y'all let me know, am I missing something here with Donovan Peoples-Jones? I don't think you should put him in your starting lineup, if we're going to be honest. I think this is a wide receiver that does have a lot of upside for when Deshaun Watson comes back, and when Watson is back in, then you're going to go through and you're going to start him. But if we're looking at 41.5 receiving yards, last week, hit. Week before, hit. Week before, hit. There have been 2 weeks. Weeks 2 and 3 were the only weeks that you had fewer than 50 receiving yards for Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's been getting here easily. Is there something I'm missing? Is there some news on why Donovan Peoples-Jones would have his line that low? Honestly, it may be my favorite prop this week. I really like 41.5 for him. But going over, start Lamar Jackson, start Mark Andrews. Don't really think you need help on that one. Now, if we're going to be looking at ETN as well as Christian Kirk, these are two guys that I also think you need to have in your starting lineup with ETN. I know some people are going to be worried about the matchup. Some people are going to be worried about Darrell Henderson. It doesn't matter. If you are worried that much about the matchup and Darrell Henderson, put him in your starting lineup and then go bet that he doesn't get to 91.5 total yards. I'm not betting against Travis Etienne, though, not after what we've seen this year. Then we're going to go Christian Kirk, 64.5. I think that's a very fair mark. We're going to be staying away from that. Zay Jones, right now, if you look at these projections, underdog is Zay Jones is a better option than Donovan Peoples-Jones. I don't know if they've checked out. They haven't noticed what's happened over the past month. But do not be thinking you could go through and start Zay Jones. I don't want you to start Donovan Peoples-Jones either, but it's just kind of funny to look at this. Now, dropping down to the next game, we have the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Great matchup for Los Angeles. I mean, we bet fewer than, I believe, 47.5 rushing yards for Austin Eckler last week and got smoked. Eckler usually just gets everything in the receiving game. That's what makes Eckler that elite level running back, of course. But with Eckler, I'm staying away from those lines. If you wanted to go at that 55.5, 54.5, knowing that they're such heavy favorites, I wouldn't fault you for it. Looking at James Conner. James Conner is going to be someone that you have to have in your starting lineup. Phenomenal matchup against the Chargers. He does get involved as a pass catcher. I mean, we're expecting Hollywood Brown to play. They don't have a Hollywood Brown lineup just yet. They're going to wait for confirmation Sunday morning with the Las Vegas Raiders. For the love of God, Josh Jacobs, please be in this game. But going over to the other pieces in the contest is Kenneth Walker, must-start guy. Kenneth Walker has the same yardage projection as Austin Eckler this week. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett are both priced in as must-start players as well. Where Lockett has a higher projection than Amari Cooper. Lockett has a higher projection, than Chris Godwin, even though we have Lockett ranked behind those guys. Looks like maybe we ranked Lockett a little bit too low because, let's look at this. Keep in mind, these are median projections as well. Tyler Lockett at 64.5. If we go back to what you had with Amari Cooper, they have Amari Cooper at 53.5. And we ranked Amari over Tyler Lockett, so maybe we are wrong on that one. I don't know. I kind of want to lean with the fact that Underdog's probably smarter than us, knowing that they have a lot of money on the line if they're wrong with these. Olave and Kamara going to be two must-start options for us. With Alvin Kamara and Olave, I understand it's a really tough matchup against the 49ers. We just saw this 49ers defense shut down the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico. If we're looking at the 49ers, though, you're starting CMC. Don't need to tell you that. Look at what they have with Deebo Samuel. They have Deebo for about 64 total yards, right in line with Tyler Lockett. So, if you can still go through and sell Deebo Samuel for someone like Amon-Ra St. Brown, I still think you have to do it. I'm still looking at the fact that you have George Kittle, Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel all in the same offense. I think it is going to be difficult for them to all get that volume here. And come on, do we really have to look at these kicker lines? Why the hell am I looking at this? Now, going over to KC, there was something that I almost wanted to go with, and that's going to be the Juju Smith-Schuster line, where Juju is good to go. You also have no McCole Hardman. You have no Kadarius Toney. So I think Juju's honestly in a better spot than he was previously. But the issue with this Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams game is the Chiefs are favored by 15.5 points. I think it gets to a point where they're just running the ball with Isaiah Pacheco in the second half over and over and over again. They don't have Rams lines up yet because they need way more information about who's going to be starting that offense. Now, looking at the Green Bay Packers side of things, you have Aaron Jones, 84.5 total yards. Aaron Jones, we ranked him as a high-end RB2 this week. Don't like the matchup against Philadelphia, but it is what it is. What's very interesting is Underdog has Allen Lazard for 50.5 receiving yards. They have Christian Watson at 43.5. Now, keep in mind, they also had Allen Lazard ahead of Christian Watson last week, and they were wrong with that. And we started Christian Watson over Allen Lazard last week. But this week, I'm actually a little more hesitant to go ahead and do so. Because if we're looking at this, with Christian Watson, he had 6 targets this past week. He comes with the 2 receiving touchdowns, saving us when we told everybody to start him. Allen Lazard had 11. It is very interesting that they're breaking it down that way. Now, in the case of the Philadelphia Eagles, you start Jalen Hurts, you start Miles Sanders, you start A.J. Brown, you start Devonta Smith. Don't overthink it. Now, our last prop that I want to be locking in is going to be this Deontay Johnson line. So they have Deontay Johnson for more receiving yards than they have with George Pickens. And if we go ahead and we look at what we have seen with the trends of Deontay Johnson as of late, Deontay Johnson has been one of the least efficient wide receivers in the entire NFL. Deontay Johnson has been horrendous. And over the past 2 weeks now, they phased Deontay Johnson out. Over the past 2 weeks, Deontay Johnson has only had 5 targets each week. I have him in so many leagues. I'm really hoping that Deontay Johnson will be just fine. I'm really hoping that Deontay Johnson is going to pick it up, but I see no reason to believe why that's going to be the case. 49.5 receiving yards projecting him over George Pickens. I think you easily have to take Pickens at this point. But I think that's it. Let me know if y'all prefer this style of video compared to what we used to do. I think this is maybe a little bit helpful for start-sit decisions as well. And please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel. Of course, I know you're all subscribed, but hit that like button. Help us get to 100. And if you want to check out any of these player props, promo code FLOCK, underdog, link in the live chat, link in the description, link in the comment section. Available in damn near every state. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100 with promo code FLOCK. And next week, you'll be getting that free Patrick Mahomes line. But thank you again. I truly appreciate all of y'all. I'm going to be waiting a few hours today. That way we can get all the injury updates in and we can go ahead and we can give you that live stream with those injury updates for submitting starting lineups. But thank you again. I'll see you then. And I really hope you have a great day if you're not able to make it.